Welcome to Crimepedia. I am your host this week. I am Morgan. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And with me, as always, is the best ginger true crime podcast host.
It's Auburn, not ginger, my friend.
It's Ginger. It is my best friend in true crime. It's a lovely Cherry.
Hello, everyone. Hope you had a good week. We are back with another episode, just for your ears.
Just for your ears. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I had a conversation over the weekend and we were talking about how and when people listen to podcasts. I would be very interested to know. I have a certain ritual with podcasts. I'd be really interested to know where people and when people listen to ours.
Uh-huh.
Like, do you listen while you're cleaning? Do you listen on the commute to work? Do you listen in the shower? Like, when do you listen and what do you do when you're listening?
Do you listen right away?
Do you wait
for that is interesting.
It's always really interesting to find out when people are listening, and because I'm the same. I have some podcasts that I listen to the minute they drop because I really want to hear them, and then there's others I save for like 2 or 3 because I want to hear them back to back because one is not enough.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested.
Well, see, I haven't listened to podcasts since, I was sent home for, COVID protocols. I've been work from home.
Yeah.
Because I used to listen on my commute.
I see.
And so now since I don't have a commute, it's like I don't have that time that I set aside for podcasts.
It's mad, isn't it? So yeah, let us know. I'd be interested to know where you listen and when you listen and how you listen. Because some people do it in their cars. Like they can get it up on the screen, like the podcast up on the screen, and they play it in the car. Mm-hmm. That's so cool to think we're with people on their way to work. That blows my mind.
Well, if you are driving to work right now, I hope you have a great day at
Drive
work.
carefully.
Drive carefully.
Yeah, have a good day at work.
Yeah. Don't let anyone bully you at work. And if they do, just quit.
No, just tell us and we'll come and sort them out.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. We know things.
No, we do.
We know people.
Well, Cherry, we do have a few thank yous to give this week. We actually have 2 new Patreon.
I know, so exciting. We've been happy dancing.
We have been. So thank you to Charlene and Suzanne who became Patreon members.
Excited.
And they join a group of awesome listeners who have previously signed up. And they will be listening here shortly to our brand new Patreon only show, Crimepedia. Case closed.
Yeah, we are going to be doing. We've taken on your feedback that some people like a solution. So they like to hear a criminal case, but they also like to know what happened, who did it, and why. So we have decided to do a new show once a month, and it will be Crimepedia Case Closed, when we will present to you a case that's already been solved and the case has now been closed. So I think you'll enjoy it. I think it's an interesting one. So we start off first of all with the murder of Sarah Everard, and that should be with you in the not too distant future.
Yep, I look forward to doing these with you.
I am. I'm really looking forward to it actually, because it's very good to be able to do like a deep dive into a case, but then actually bring you the solution of what happened at the end. That's an interesting way to look at it. So we also need to say hello to Charlotte, who is getting married in May. She loves you, and we just celebrated her hen and bachelorette party this weekend. So say hello to her for me. She'll be very, very happy.
Hello, Charlotte. Congratulations on your upcoming marriage.
Yes, she's a star. Absolutely brilliant.
Yep. Awesome.
So talking of like parties and stuff, don't forget that if you haven't got your tickets to CrimeCon in the US yet, it's next month. Oh, that blows my mind. Next month, we're going to be in Vegas together on Podcast Row, meeting listeners and talking about our show and having a great time. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, you can still use the code Crimepedia, still get your 10% off at the moment. But I don't think this lasts like all the time, does it? I think it runs out soon. So you need to get your tickets soon.
Yes.
So make sure you do that on checkout.
Yeah, definitely do that. And we are, 3 months away, right?
I know,
3 months or
3 months of June, isn't it?
From CrimeCon in London.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very exciting. You can also use our promo code Crimepedia at checkout for those tickets. And then once again, get a nice little discount.
Yeah. Make sure you do that and we'll see you at both.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else before we get into this week's episode?
No, I'm looking forward to hearing this one because I know absolutely nothing about this one. So
Nothing.
nothing at all. So I don't even know anything about it, who it is or anything. So I'm looking forward to this.
Excellent. Well, let's jump right into it. In a quiet, upper middle class neighborhood overlooking San Pablo Bay in Northern California, a brazen killing in 1997 shocked and shattered the innocence of a whole community. To this day, it is still unknown as to why the killer or killers targeted the victims. With lack of answers, multiple theories have been put forth and discussed. Was it a home invasion gone wrong? Was it a drug-related murder? Was it part of a vast government conspiracy? Or could it have been the end result of a love triangle? This is Crimepedia, and this is the Abernathy Murders. All right, Cherry. Neil and Susan Abernathy were college sweethearts from the University of California at Davis. The couple would marry in 1978 and have their first and only child, Brendan, in 1984. That same year, the Abernathy family would move into a new home in Hercules, California, on Dunham Court, and the upscale Hercules by the Bay subdivision.
I can't believe they got a place called Hercules for a start. That is awesome.
I know.
Where do you live? Hercules. That's amazing.
Hercules.
That's so cool.
That's a great name for a
That is
city.
a really
Yeah.
good name for a city. You'd feel a little bit elite if you lived in Hercules, wouldn't you?
You'd have to.
That's so
You'd have
cool.
to.
I didn't even know that there was a place called Hercules. That's brilliant.
I didn't know until I did this. I started looking in this one.
That's so
Crazy,
cool.
right?
Sorry, yes, off
Now-
that subject.
You're fine. At the time, Hercules was actually just a quiet suburb in northern Contra Costa County. It lacked its own middle school, high school, and library. Now, to those that knew the Abernathys, the family fit in very well within the neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
Neil and Susan had both worked at Chevron Petroleum Refinery in Richmond. But in 1992, Neil had decided to quit his job at Chevron in order to purchase Precision Tune Auto Repair on San Pablo Avenue in Pinole.
Okay.
Now, on February 19th, 1997, 12-year-old Brendan had the day off from school for an administrative holiday. Neil had decided to take off the day to spend it with Brendan, while Susan went to work at Chevron. That morning, Neil took Brendan to a scheduled orthodontist appointment. Now, after that appointment, the two would have lunch together where they spoke to Susan at about 12:15 p.m. After lunch, Neil and Brendan would then return to the orthodontist where an x-ray technician took some photographs of Brendan's teeth. After getting out of work, Susan would drop off a coworker who she carpooled with and stopped for gas before heading home. When she arrived a few minutes before 6 p.m., Susan was greeted at the front door by her corgi. She would quickly realize that something was wrong when she found some items in the house in disarray. As she entered the living room, she would discover the bodies of Neil and Brendan on the floor.
Oh no.
Both victims had been bound and shot in the back of the head.
Oh my God. What a thing to come home to.
It'd be horrible
That
to
poor
come.
woman. Oh my God. Because you wouldn't,
I
obviously,
know.
you wouldn't be expecting that. What a shock. That'd be
Yeah.
horrible. Oh, bless her.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It would be, I wouldn't want
Yeah.
to, I couldn't imagine, I wouldn't want to imagine what she thought, right?
That's horrendous.
Now, Susan would run to the next door neighbor's house where she called 911. When the police arrived, they found that the house was fairly tidy, considering what had occurred. There was no sign of forced entry, which was not unusual, seeing that the Abernathys would often leave their house unlocked. Though there were some cabinets opened, their contents appeared to be mostly undisturbed. Now, there were signs in the living room of the dog's presence either during or after the killings. And while Neil's body did show signs of resistance, there was no signs of a life or death struggle occurring inside the house.
Oh.
With how the bodies were found, it was highly suggestive that these could have been execution killings.
Oh.
Now, strangely, nobody on Dunham Court saw or heard anything unusual, including gunshots.
So no one heard gunshots in the house at all?
No.
Which probably would suggest maybe it's got a silencer on, which then I would think if it's somebody who's equipped and prepared with a silencer, that sounds like a hit, doesn't it? That sounds like a professional hit. But why the kid? Why do they do that? Why kill the kid? Why not just tie the kid up in another room, shut the door, it's never right, is it, to do that to the children? Whatever
Mm-mm.
problems you've got with the adults. I know it's not right to kill the adult either. I'm not saying that it's right to do either,
Yeah,
but really, the kid is a kid. How could you do that and like morally walk away? How could you? It's just awful, isn't it?
it is very. It's
That's
absolutely like
crazy.
there is nothing that he could have done
No,
which would have called for his killing. He didn't
no,
do
he's a
anything.
little
There's
kid.
nothing he did.
No,
Yeah,
that's just really cruel, isn't it?
it is absolutely. Now, knowing that Brendan had his teeth photographed at the orthodontist sometime between 2:45 and 3 p.m., investigators were able to narrow the time of death to between 3 p.m. and 5:55 p.m.
Oh, that's a short window.
A very short window,
Mm,
yeah. Now, early on, investigators would speculate that the crime scene may have been set up to look like a robbery gone wrong.
mm.
Now, police would find an odd assortment of items stolen from the house. While one piece of stereo equipment valued at $400 was left, the killers had taken the home telephone answering machine. Also missing was a heirloom gold chain, a Baroque design with an amethyst and a freshwater pearl dangle,
Okay.
which had been belonged to one of Susan's grandmothers.
Right. Okay.
So that was missing.
Mm,
Now, what most people would agree on was that Neil and Brendan were atypical homicide victims. Neil was the middle child of three and was considered introspective and very passive. He loved history, reading, and playing strategy games. His love of
oh.
history would lead him to picking up historical reenactments as a hobby.
Oh, okay.
Now, Brendan was a brilliant kid. He was a straight A student who did not spend a lot of time around other kids.
Mm,
He actually shared many of the same mannerisms and interests as his father.
mm,
Okay. Now, Hercules police, with help from the FBI, would quickly begin canvassing the neighborhood, knocking on doors and stopping cars in the area. One person would state that they had seen a mid 1970s modeled brown car occupied by three men in the neighborhood the day of the killing, but it would be a lead that failed to pan out.
mm.
Investigators would also interview a customer who had argued with Neil at the repair shop, but he would be ruled out. Fingerprints were taken from dozens of people who had recently visited the house in order to exclude their prints from the ones taken by the crime scene investigators.
Mm.
Now, strangely, about a month after the murders, police would receive an anonymous handwritten single page letter on ruled paper signed "Someone Who Knows," stating that they had information about the Abernathy murders.
Okay.
Now, while the police haven't actually released the full contents of the letter, it was indicated that it was quite rude in what they were saying.
Mm.
In saying at one point they wrote that there were no tears being shed for the loss of the two.
Oh God.
Now, in addition to that letter, there were two phone calls made, one to a local church and one to the Hercules City Hall,
Mm.
that were made by a man who claimed to have information on the murders. But despite pleas to come forward, police were never able to determine who wrote the letter or who made those phone calls.
Okay. This so where the Abernathys live, we know, like you said, it was a quiet kind of suburb. Is their house? Is it on its own, or is it attached to any other houses?
It's in a cul-de-sac with close by neighbors.
Okay, so it's not, but it's not. They're not actually attached. So it's not like in a
They're not
row or
attached.
anything like
No.
that. Okay, so they're not attached. So
Mm-mm.
I was just kind of thinking then, it seems like it would be quite maybe not an affluent, but a good. If it's a cul-de-sac and it's a good neighborhood, so you're not
There.
talking somewhere that's like where there's people driving by with guns and stuff like that, where you can't really walk around. So it's quite a good neighborhood. So the
Yes.
chances of nobody seeing anything, like because these people must have had a vehicle, there must have been a vehicle that these people would have left the
To
scene
get in and
in.
out of.
So
You would think so. Yes.
in a small cul-de-sac, I think people notice, the not usual cars. They notice unusual stuff like that, which makes me wonder:
Mhm.
did these people leave on foot, and then park around the corner? Because I think you would notice a different car in your neighborhood.
You would,
Mm,
and because it's a cul-de-sac, if Yeah, you'd see if
You'd
there's a
see
car that
everybody,
you
wouldn't
don't.
you? You can see
You
all
would.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're, like, sitting in there, if you're looking out the window, you could
Yeah.
easily see what cars are parked
Yeah.
in the area.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if that's the case and no, I mean, because maybe one or two houses not seeing anything, but for absolutely no one to see anything at that time of
Mhm,
day, we're talking at like, between 3 and 5 p.m. So that's kind of like kids coming home from school time, people starting to come home
mhm.
from work time.
Yes.
So it's not like we're
Yes.
talking in the middle of the night, is it? So I think it's very strange that
It is.
nobody saw absolutely anything at all. Perhaps they did, but
Mhm.
don't realize that what they saw was significant.
It's true.
Mm.
And I think the key to it is even though, we have a relatively small timeline, right? But we're
Yeah.
still talking between 3 and 5:55.
Yeah.
Now, the 5:55 is the time that Susan got home, right? So we
Yeah.
can assume that the shooting didn't happen at 5:55. So we can probably take some minutes off of
Of
there.
course, and yeah, they've had to get out of there as well, haven't they? So we're not, you can maybe take 10 minutes off.
Mhm. And if Brendan's if let's say that the photographs of his picture took place sometime between 2:45 and 3 p.m.
Mm.
I mean, we could probably say they weren't home at 3 p.m. So we could probably
Yeah, traveling
limit that
time.
that time to, let's say, 3:15 to 5:45.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where it gets interesting, right? Let's say, well, I don't know what Neil's work schedule is or when he's in, but let's assume that he's just working a typical 9 to 5 shift at the
Yeah.
the auto repair shop.
Mhm.
So someone would, if the killing happened after 5 p.m., you have 45 minutes before 5 p.m. You have an hour and 45 before 5 p.m. for this to happen. If it happened after 5 p.m., then it had, well, actually, you know what? Let me rephrase this. Someone either had to have known that he wasn't at work that day,
Of
right?
course, yeah, because he's normally at work. Yeah.
Or they assumed he had gone to work and then they waited until after 5 o'clock to do all this. But
Yeah.
I, I don't know. It's just strange to me. I would think that I have a I the chances are of it happening before 5 o'clock to me are probably stronger than
Mm.
it happening after. I
And the
think.
and the fact that they have to then go through the house and I mean, was it an interrupted burglary? But it's kind of specific stuff. Why would you take an answer machine? Why would you take that?
Yeah.
Unless your voice is on that answering machine and
Yeah.
you want
Exactly.
to but then it depends what kind of answer. Is it just I mean, I thought
Well,
nowadays,
it,
isn't it like it's collected in like the cloud kind of thing? It's not actually on a tape.
yeah.
So maybe it's
But
different then.
but even in 1997, it's not like
Mm,
answer machines were that expensive.
no,
It's not like it was a brand new technology. It's like, oh my god, I have to have this answer machine.
no. So there's got to be something on it, hasn't there? There's got to be something
Yeah,
on that answering machine that they don't want. Then why not just erase it? Why take it? That's weird.
they're in a hurry and they didn't
Maybe.
want to
Just ripped
fumble
out the
with it.
wall, maybe.
Yeah, it's just easier just
Yeah.
to
Good
just take
point.
it.
Yeah, good point.
Because why would you take a answer machine but you wouldn't take a $400 stereo system?
Maybe to carry the carrying. I mean, they took a necklace, didn't they? That's small. If you saw somebody walking down the road with a stereo system, it would be a lot weirder than seeing somebody walk down with their hands in their pocket, because the necklace and
Yeah.
stuff's in the pocket. So maybe that's why. Or maybe
Now
they
I
just panicked and just took what they could.
Yeah. Now police did have a belief that the two knew the killer, or at least Neil knew the killer, which
Okay.
is very possible.
Hmm.
And the reason people say that is because the fact that there was no sign of forced entry, right?
Yeah.
So usually when there's no forced entry, your immediate thought is, oh, they must have known the murderer and let them in the
Mm.
house. But if you think about this, let's say that it is a stranger, they knock on the door, s- you're gonna answer the door
Yeah.
mostly, right? You're gonna go to the
Yeah.
door, you're gonna see what they want. You answer the door to a stranger, they pull a gun, they put it in your face. What are you gonna
Mm.
do?
Exactly. Yeah, you're
You're
right.
gonna let them in.
Yeah, you're right.
So it doesn't have to be a person known to the victim to get into a house with no sign of forced entry.
My immediate thought, though, is that this is more than one person, purely because
Yes.
they've been tied up. And I think that they're not going to have been tied up after they were shot. They're going to have been tied up first and
Mhm.
incapacitated and then shot, I think, from from historical things that we've read through, and things like that from experience. So I would say that one person would be holding them still with a gun whilst the other person is tying them up.
And
And were they
you would be
gagged? Do we know if they were gagged?
we do not know if they were gagged.
Because obviously, like, you would worry then that they would make noise. I mean, you've got a small kid there that, I mean, you don't, this is all guesswork. You don't know how you'll react under those circumstances. So you might be paralyzed with fear and be quiet, or you might not
Mhm.
be, because I mean, we're talking about a small kid. So it's it's strange to me that they did kill the child as well. I think it's strange to me that they didn't, leave the child and just kill the dad. But then I suppose he could identify them possibly, and that's their
Y
motive for killing
so
him too.
that kind of makes me think, okay, they
Mm.
they might be known,
They
right?
might know them. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you're just gonna rob a house and you don't know the victim,
Mm.
then you're not really as worried about it, right? And if you're just gonna be robbing a house, why are you gonna go to the trouble of tying them up and shooting them, right?
And why so late in the day? If you're watching a house like that, surely you'd wait until he goes to work and then you do it. But
Mhm.
did they wait until he left and then started robbing the house, and then he came back too quick and disturbed them? Wow, there's
But
so many, isn't there? There's so many different things that this could be. It's frustrating.
there is. There is. Now, there are numerous theories that have gone on with this
Okay.
and I think we should go through them, okay?
Yeah.
Um, the first one I want to talk about is there's a theory that proposes that Neil and Brendan were murdered because of some kind of involvement with illicit drugs.
Oh, okay. So he's just a father and working in an auto place, and so there's something to do with drugs going on.
This is People have thought about this because the murders were in an execution style,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So you have two people that are bound and they're on their knees and they're shot in the back of the head, right?
mm.
So a lot of times this type of murder is
Mm.
associated
Yeah.
with like drug wars and gangs.
Yeah.
The problem with this is that there is nothing that connects the Abernathy's
To
with
drugs.
any sort of illicit
Yeah.
drugs,
So maybe
right?
not the strongest of motives, that
It's
one.
not.
No.
There is another thought to this theory that might seem a little more bit more reasonable,
Okay.
and that is the theory that it may have been a drug related murder, but the murderers came in to the wrong house, right?
Oh,
In
okay.
that the
Yeah, good
murders of
point.
Neil and Brendan were just a tragic mistake.
Right. Okay.
All right. So this is a little bit more reasonable, seeing that
Yeah.
this does not, you don't have to have a direct involvement in drugs. The Abernathys don't need to have this direct
No.
involvement with the drugs for this
Yeah, for this to be a
theory
drug
to be
killing.
true,
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah,
that would
that's
kind of explain the
yeah.
style in which they were murdered.
Yeah.
But then it also allows the idea that the Abernathys, they were clean cut. They didn't have
Mm,
any involvement in drugs.
mm,
So very possible. Um, Second one is this being a thrill murder. So a thrill murder, like serial murders,
mm.
are very difficult to understand because there's no real motive to them
No.
other than a personal gratification of the murder.
And is there anything else like that? Have there been any other crimes that we know of, like around that area, or that?
N-
No. So
No, not really.
okay.
No, not in this, like in this sense.
But
So
then saying
I
that,
don't.
you have to start. They have to start somewhere. There's always people that are serial killers always start with a first murder, don't they? That there's always the first
Mhm.
one. So it's possible.
Yes, but and then you got to think, okay, well, who's gonna be targeting
Yeah,
these
just a
two,
guy and
right?
his son. Yeah. Why them?
And I don't I usually like you're when these type of things happen, you don't really hear about thrill killing or serial killers
No.
targeting a a father and a son.
No. That's true.
So if it is something like that, I mean, there's probably other people that they could have
Mm.
targeted,
Yeah.
that would make more sense.
Yeah. Of course.
Because we're not talking about, you know, 2 small children or whatever, right?
Mm.
In order to control, you know, an adult and a 12-year-old kid is, I mean, yeah, they're not fully grown or anything, but that's still
Still a
another
kid.
n it's still a kid you have to think about and you have to
Mm.
control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of cou of course, there's a theory that this was a murder that had been committed during a burglary, like
Mhm.
we kinda talked about, but problem with that is there was very little taken from the house. If this was a burglary gone wrong,
Mm.
they didn't do a good job of, you know,
Burgling.
getting yeah, burglaring, right?
Mm.
And obviously, if it was a burglary, they went to the house, but they didn't seem to really be looking for anything in particular or even really looking. They're just opening things and just kind of
Mm.
peeking in and walking away.
Mm.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's a
It
burglary.
doesn't sound so. It doesn't sound so, does it?
There is a theory that this was actually a part of a government conspiracy.
Oh, there's always a
Okay.
government conspiracy. Go on. What's this conspiracy?
All right. So this is a lot to go over, and so I'm going to try my best
Okay.
to kind of to go over it as best as possible. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So back in 2000, the Canadian Royal Mounties enlisted the help of the Hercules Police in investigating a link between the Abernathy's murder
Mm.
and a Canadian computer spy probe.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So investigators had turned their attention to a gentleman named Michael Recon. Please let me do this. Michael Ricano Scudo.
Okay.
Michael Ricano Scudo, who was a former Hercules resident who was serving a prison sentence on drug charges,
Mm.
who claimed he helped prepare for a sale of a to a Canadian software. Wait, who claimed he helped prepare for sale to Canada software with trapdoor technology that allowed
Oh,
foreign spies to hack into computer files.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this software was called Promise, Promis, and was the subject of a decade long inquiry in the United States federal courts.
Right.
Now, the software developers Inslaw Inc. claimed the Department of Justice had pirated Promise and sold it to foreign countries.
Mhm.
Now, a federal judge ruled against this Inslaw company in 1997, but conspiracy theorists who say the trapdoor allowed the government to spy on anyone who used the software have kept the case alive.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this Ricano Scudo talked to the Hercules police in connection with the Abernathy case. He said that he actually had old ties to Hercules and had lived there on and off in the late 70s and 80s, and actually stated that he had grown up with Abernathy as kids.
Mm.
Okay. Now the problem with this whole conspiracy and what this Michael Ricano Sciotto or whatever his name
Mm.
is the fact that he said that he grew up with Neil as children in Hercules. Neil Abernathy was not from Hercules, California. So that's one lie we know that this guy is
Yeah.
telling.
But why pick
So
up
if
on
he's one,
him?
I have
Yeah.
no
Why
idea.
choose
That's
Neo
what
Abernathy of all people?
it makes no sense, right?
No. Yeah.
Why? Because I don't know how you could even connect
Mm.
Neil to this computer software,
That's weird.
right?
Yeah. I mean, this guy works in an auto place. So
He does. Yeah.
why is he going to be using spy equipment and stuff like that? I mean, don't obviously he might have some sort of like, he might be a conspiracy theorist himself. He might have been trying to uncover stuff that, people have all sorts of hobbies. It could be
Mhm.
something like that. And he's got himself in a bit too deep into something he shouldn't be involved in. But why would this guy
Mhm.
say he grew up with Neil from from Hercules when Neil didn't grow up in Hercules? That's something
Yeah.
that's very easy to prove that you're lying. So that's a rookie mistake straight away.
Oh, huge mistake.
Yeah.
Huge mistake. To see this, so that's okay. This this
Mm,
convict, right, is trying to build this connection that he had with Abernathy. But the problem is like there's nothing that would actually link Neil
mm.
Abernathy to this Canadian software program.
Yeah. So that's just maybe he saw the news thing saying that Neil Abernathy was dead and he's just used his
Hmm.
name just to, I don't know. Maybe he's just used his name just as part of it, just like that.
To get
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
a sentence.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know, but
But
just to muddy the waters maybe or, throw them off track or something. You don't know because it's weird that he's saying he's grown up with this guy in Hercules when they can quite
mhm.
easily see that he didn't grow up in Hercules. So that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me either.
No.
I think this is just some guy that's yeah. I think
Wackadoo.
you're right. Wackadoo,
Yeah.
muddying the waters for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, just to be an arse.
Now, the one theory that we can talk about, which is might almost seem like maybe it's too obvious,
Mhm.
is the theory that Neil was killed by another man in some sort of love triangle.
Oh, like a
Okay.
romance for the wife, maybe.
So this would indicate that in this theory, the thought would be that the person who killed the husband and the son would be the person who would then be dating Susan Abernathy and later marry Susan Abernathy.
Oh, okay.
So,
Or I was thinking then you were just about to say it was somebody that he was having an affair with that was angry with him and just came in and shot him and his son just because she was angry. I don't know why I immediately thought
possible.
woman. So that's yeah.
No, no, no,
So
no.
okay.
Okay, so listen to this, okay? So, Susan, after the death of Neil and her son, began dating a man by the name of Kent Truscott.
Hmm.
Kent Newt Truscott was a college roommate of Neil's.
Oh.
Susan and Kent got married in July. Okay.
Mm. How long after they got killed?
Uh, they got married in July 1999. So just over 2 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Out of all the people that the police have questioned and asked for statements, the one person that has refused to talk to police has been Kent Truscott.
Oh.
So police, while they don't believe that his refusal, and this is what they this use the term vexing. They don't believe it's vexing. They do find it somewhat suspicious that he won't talk to them,
Well, yeah, because why
and
wouldn't
he
you?
won't even. Yeah, and then all they've just wanted a question. They wanted to know what he was doing that day, where he was. They're
Mm.
basically looking for an alibi for
Yeah,
Kent
to clear him.
Truscott.
Yeah.
Kent has never given an alibi to the police.
That's weird, isn't it?
It's very weird.
Because why wouldn't you? If you had nothing to do with the wife at the time and nothing to do with the
Mhm.
family at the time, why wouldn't you give them an alibi as to where you were? What's I don't really understand why you wouldn't. That makes you look
Yeah, I
suspicious
know.
and
Yeah.
guilty straight away. So why
Mhm.
wouldn't you just say, "Oh yeah, I was at work or I was wherever."
Exactly. It's that simple. Now, my problem with the idea that Kent Truscott was involved in the murders
Mm.
or had committed the murders
Mm.
is the fact that police believe that there had been more than one killer
Yeah. Yeah.
in the house.
Yeah.
I really find it very hard that if it's a case of a person who is trying to get a woman, trying to get rid of the husband, I
Mm,
find it really hard that they would go
yeah.
to a friend or someone and say, "Hey, I need
Help
you to
me.
help
Yeah.
kill this guy so I can get this woman."
Yeah, I don't think you would you?
Right?
That's strange. Yeah, you wouldn't do that.
It
If
is
your friend
very
came to
strange.
you and said, "Look, there's this woman that I really like. We want to be together. Help me come and kill her husband." You'd be like, "What? No, weirdo."
Mhm. So this is one of those cases where, yeah, there's a lot of theories, but I don't know if a lot of the theories make any sense.
No, there's nothing concrete. I mean, first of all, with me, I would look at this and I would see what home computer systems do they have? What electrical kind of stuff do they have in the house? Do they have,
Mhm.
like software in the house? What kind of systems are they using? What's their activity? What's their online activity? What's the regular web pages that they visit? That would be my first start with something like that. That would then dispel that whole, computer software rubbish. That would get rid of that.
Yep.
And then I would look at this whole relationship because usually you look straight, the first person that you would look at is the spouse. So you look to see how
Yes.
strong their marriage is. You speak to people that
Mhm.
know them, neighbors. Do they get on very well? Are there any shouting? Is there anything coming from the house? That kind of thing, and family members and stuff. And that would be probably the first place I would have looked, would see how was their relationship. Because if she was involved in this and the lover or the boyfriend was going to come and kill the husband, if he then killed the son too, I struggled to believe that a woman would not think
Mm,
anything of it.
yeah. Yep.
To then go on and marry that man that was responsible for killing your kid. And it always does, it baffles me in relationship cases that we do where the lover helps kill the wife or the husband, because you're like, hang on a minute, he's having an affair with you behind his wife's back. He plots to
Mhm.
kill his wife, and then you want to become his wife. Are you mad?
Yep.
This guy might get fed up with you in like 2 years' time and plot with his new girlfriend to bump you off. Are
Exactly.
you like,
Yep.
where are the red flags? It's just,
Mhm.
it's beyond me that people will actually help someone get rid of someone and then happily get into a relationship with them and sleep next to them at night and not worry. So
Yeah.
if she was to have been involved with this guy knowing what he was going to do to the husband, maybe for insurance
Mhm.
or whatever, I don't think she would have been that forgiving finding out that he executed her son.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I mean, could it be a burglary? Could it be that they were actually just got into the house and only just
Mhm.
started in the house when they were disturbed by him and the son coming home? Yes, it's possible. It's not an
Mhm.
impossible thing. And I think, out of all the things you told me, that would be my first thought. But the only thing that makes me think about the boyfriend is the fact
Mhm.
that he refuses to talk to police. And why would you if you didn't have anything to do with her at the time of her husband being killed? You'd be like,
That's
"Man,
true.
I didn't even know her then, or I knew of
Well, he
them.
did.
I knew of them, but we weren't
No.
close. It's not like I was round there for dinner and stuff, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I didn't have anything to do with them back then."
I think they were close fr close friends. I think
Yeah.
the family was close friends with Ken
Because
prior
sure
to the
you'd
murders.
clear yourself though, wouldn't you? You try and do everything you can to
Yeah.
clear yourself from this. You wouldn't
Mhm.
just say, "No, no, no, I'm not talking."
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think this is a situation, a love triangle, a situation where Kent's like, "I gotta get rid of Neil
Mm,
to get Susan." I don't see that.
no.
I think I think people tend to wave off the possibility of this being a burglary go
Mm,
wrong too easily, right?
mm,
And because they point to the fact that there was no forced entry, they point to the fact that it appeared as though the house had been set up to look like a burglary.
mm.
But this could be a situation where,
So I don't
they're trying
understand
to get
that.
in and out as quickly as
Yes.
possible,
I don't
right?
understand that it's set up to look like a burglary. So what do they mean by that? Do they mean that it wasn't
They mean
ransacked
by like
enough, or
yes,
okay,
yes,
so
exactly.
what happens if they had only just got into the property? They'd only just gone in there
Mhm,
when he returns home. And then like, oh no,
mhm,
well, they've literally just started, they've just got into the property. And so they haven't had a chance to ransack the place. And then once they kill him,
yeah.
I mean, once but then if nobody heard anything, chances are, I mean, gunshots are loud. If nobody heard anything, chances are that there was a silencer on this. I don't know very much about guns so much as could you tell if you were shot with a silencer? Does it do anything different to the bullet? Or I don't know if it's like, if could you
Oh, I
tell
don't
the
know.
difference between somebody being shot with a normal gun and then somebody being shot with a gun with a silencer on it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Because
I'm not sure.
if that's the case and they can tell, I mean, feel free to send us a message on Instagram or something and let us know if you know about
Mhm.
ballistics and stuff. If you could tell that they were shot with a silencer, then we know
Mhm.
that not does the average gun holder in America have a silencer as well? Do you have those, or surely you only
I don't.
buy those if you
Mhm.
want to be quietly shooting things?
Yeah. So why would you? Well, why would you quietly want to be shooting things? I
Because you
mean,
wouldn't, it's not the sort of gun you would go hunting with, or it's not the sort of gun that you would be taking out recreationally to shoot. If you were shooting at a shooting range, you wouldn't take one with a silencer on, would you?
no.
So that would be purposely for doing bad stuff, the silencer.
Hmm. You
So
know what? I think either burglary
mm,
or as crazy as it sounds, maybe it was an issue where they were targeted by someone and it was the wrong house.
yeah,
They were the wrong target.
yeah, it was the wrong people. I mean, that would be also interesting to have a look around the cul-de-sac to see the other houses. What do they do? What's their,
Hmm.
who are they? Could it be that they've gone to the wrong house? It could have been next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, that's
I mean,
crazy,
yeah.
isn't it? There's no sort of
Mhm.
clear, this is what we think it is kind of thing.
I think when I started looking into this case, my thought was this is definitely someone that knew the Abernathys. That
Okay.
this wasn't a stranger doing this.
Okay.
But by the time I got through, my mind kind of changed,
Yeah.
and I think that it kind of goes against what a lot of people think. A lot of people that have looked into this case or investigated this case, I think it might be opposite of what they're thinking. All right, that this
Yeah.
might actually be
A mistake.
a either a mistake or it could be random or
Mm.
it was a burglary gone wrong.
Yeah. I don't
Because
know
I
why,
don't.
yeah, my first instinct is that this is that they came home and disturbed people that just got in there, or it's
Mhm.
that they've got the wrong. I don't think, I know that it sounds bad that the boyfriend's not saying anything, but I don't think that I just don't think she would stay with him if the son got killed too, unless I'd
Yeah,
be interested to know what sort of relationship she had with her son.
yeah. Now, what is as interesting about this is that it does seem as though there is possibly some DNA evidence
Oh, man.
from the murders because we know that evidence had actually been sent to a crime lab in Richmond
Right.
for testing, right? So it seems like there is
Oh,
some physical evidence
yeah,
that could tie the killer or killers to the crime
to the crime
scene.
scene, yeah.
However, we do not know what was sent,
And
what
how
the
much
results
of
of
it,
those
yeah.
are. So we don't know if it's a situation where they now have evidence that can lead to a particular person, but they don't have not enough evidence. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, what type of evidence they've got. That's interesting that they've actually got, but then again, like the frustrating thing about that is that they may have DNA evidence, but it's they have it, but to compare it to what? If somebody's not in the system, then they
Hmm.
could and not in trouble, then they're not gonna have it, are they? I mean, they could test the boyfriend, they could test the wife to see if their DNA is that and clear them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why police don't have the powers to just haul that guy's ass in and say, "No, you will
No.
talk to us. Give me a
Yeah.
DNA sample. Otherwise, we're gonna send your ass to jail. So either you do it or you go to jail for, I don't know, what do they call it? Obstructing police work or something.
Yeah.
Good job I'm not mayor.
Man, he
Good job I'm not the sheriff.
Yeah.
I'll be like, no, you are
No,
coming with me and you will
you're doing.
talk.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to
Yeah.
stick you in that chair and pull your toenails out.
Yeah. Yeah. This testing of this physical evidence of this
Mm,
DNA occurred tw 20 years ago. Yeah. So it's been 20 years.
blimey.
And so, but nothing has come from it.
Isn't that frustrating that there is that DNA evidence there, but there's nothing being done with it. It's not, that will link somebody to that crime scene. It's there. It's
Yeah.
just waiting to be linked up.
Here's the thing. What are the chances that someone committed a crime this violent
Mm. It's
that
nasty,
they
isn't
this
it?
was this was the first and only time they did this?
Mm.
What's the chances?
Or this has
I don't
troubled
see
them
someone.
since.
Oh,
I
possibly.
mean, killing a kid, that must be killing a human is bad enough, but having a
Mm,
kid there, oh, that's just I don't think I could. If your life is threatened, possibly, but I don't think you
mhm.
could. I could just tie someone up and shoot them for nothing. That's
Now
harsh.
with the way their bodies were, it was fairly obvious that Neil was shot first and then Brendan was shot second because
Oh
Brendan's body was
God,
actually covering up Neil's
Neil.
body as though he
Yeah.
was trying to protect him. So
Oh no, isn't that awful? That's horrible.
it is very, very horrible.
It is. It's really harsh. And I mean, there is like criminals do have like they have like their criminal code, don't they? And it's usually like women and children in execution style stuff. It's usually like women and children are like a no go. Even in like when you look at like mob stuff and it's the
Mhm.
women and children. They don't involve the women and kids. Do they like that? So this is strange that the kid's been killed too, and in such a way, like that's just
I don't know.
why
Like
kill them? Like why kill them if you're burgling
exactly.
them? Like,
I was
why
just thinking the
kill
same
them?
thing.
Yeah, why
I was
would
just
you have to
thinking
kill
the
them?
same thing.
If you're burgling the
You don't need
place,
to.
no.
You already have them controlled. You have them tied.
Yeah. And what's the worst
They're
they're
not
going to
going
do?
anywhere.
Call the police and say you burgled the house. So you're going to get done at the most for burglary. That doesn't carry
Mhm.
like a huge lifelong sentence. So why kill them? They killed them for a reason. There's got to be a reason that they were both killed, because to kill them just because they saw you, or they panicked and shot one and then thought, shit, now we're going to have to kill the other one because he's seen us and we're going to get done for
Yeah.
murder. That could be a possibility, because I don't think you just shoot them just because you caught them burgling the house.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
So maybe they shot him, but then, like you said, they were both shot in the back of the head execution style. So if that's the case, if they accidentally shot like the dad or the son or something first and then thought, oh my God, now what do we
Now we have
do?
to
We have to get
do
rid
the
of
other
him
one
because he
in.
can see us and we're going to get done for murder. But it doesn't seem like the scene was
I
set up for
mean,
that.
that's true. I don't know. Are you gonna change my mind and make me think that this was
I
a
know, I think I am, aren't I? I don't know. It's
that
difficult,
this is
isn't
a
it? Because I want to go and ask all these questions about I want to ask all these different questions, like what did this crime scene look like? What was exactly taken? Where were things placed? Who knew the Abernathys? What kind of man was Neil? What kind of woman was his wife? Were they in any debt? What was the kid like? The kid was quiet, like his dad. Okay, great. The kid, I don't think, is the major problem in all this.
no.
What kind of area is it? What kind of things are the local the neighbors? What do they do? What are they up to? There's so many
Yeah.
questions to try and because it's quite a baffling murder, isn't it? It doesn't seem to have a clear cut
No, it
motive.
doesn't. No, no, it doesn't. I mean, if it was a burglary, they did a really
Mm.
bad job of what they had gone there to do.
And the necklace that they took has never been found, because a Baroque necklace is
Never
quite
been
a
found.
yeah, it's a quite. I mean, you said it had an amethyst and a freshwater pearl drop, so it's a
That's correct.
distinctive kind of necklace.
It is. Yeah, they checked all the local pawn shops and it never showed
Mm.
up.
That
Never
necklace
showed
will
up.
be somewhere. That necklace will be around somewhere, won't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So
And that
someone's going
doesn't
to
that
find that
seem like
necklace.
okay, so a necklace like that is very
Mm.
sentimental. That almost seems to
Mm.
me like I just have this picture of it being in like a specific place. This isn't a necklace that you just have laying out on a table.
No, definitely. But what if they actually went specifically for the necklace? Because the necklace isn't this kind of thing that you would wear on a daily basis. So chances are it's in a box somewhere, in a cupboard or in a
Mhm.
drawer or in a safe if they've got a safe. But what if that was the specific reason they went for this? They could be family members that know about that necklace, and that's why they got in there because they're family. They just
Yeah.
turned up at the door and he let them in because he knew them, and that was what they went to steal. And they got rid
Oh,
of the answer machine because they rang first to see if he was home and didn't know how to erase the message.
oh, that's
Like,
I never hadn't thought of that.
Hey Neil, it's me, Ted. We're going to drop by this afternoon. Hope you're okay." He goes, "Yeah, no worries. I've got an orthodontist, but then we'll be back." "Yeah, okay, cool. We'll see you then." He rings them back, and then they come in while he's supposed to be away. He comes back, and the necklace is what they wanted.
Well, now I am not an expert on necklaces or jewelry, but do you think that that's the type of necklace that would have more value than just sentimental value?
Well, I mean, fresh pearls are expensive, aren't they? It's got an emerald in
Mhm.
it, so it's got a gemstone in it. I mean, maybe it is a very sentimental family piece. Maybe it is. I don't know, but then surely the wife would have then said, "Oh, we've been arguing over the necklace that so and so's always wanted that necklace. It belonged to our grandma. They were always
Mhm.
jealous. We argued about the necklace. That's strange that that's the only thing that's gone missing." So I'm just
Yeah, 'cause
ruling out my own theories now.
no, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's it's interesting. It's an
Mm.
interesting thought because I'd also like to know. So we know like the $400 stereo
Mm.
wasn't touched. What
No.
else? What else was missed or overlooked
Yeah.
or not gone? Because if they went specifically for that necklace, right? Was
Mm.
there any other jewelry that was there that
Didn't
they
touch.
had to didn't touch? Like, did they grab like was there a jewelry box? They took the whole jewelry box, or did they open up the jewelry box and go specifically for that necklace?
And that's the thing. I always think that when people say, "Oh, yeah, we were burgled and nothing was taken," do
Hmm.
you know straight away what's been taken and what hasn't? Because if you were to burgle my house, it'd probably take me quite a while to wonder what's actually been taken and what hasn't been taken. Because I don't know straight away if I don't know. Say you had I don't know grandma's ring, you'd notice grandma's ring was gone, but would you notice other little things that you've got that was missing straight away? You might notice a few like do you know like sometimes when you're looking through old photos, you know the photo because you've seen it, but you don't remember day to day that you've got that photo until something triggers a memory of, "Oh, yeah, remember, we've got a photo of that." So, could it be that something was taken that
Oh
she doesn't
yeah.
automatically think of? Is there a piece of
Hmm.
jewelry that she's forgotten she's got? And then later down the line, she'll go, "Oh my God, yeah, what happened to that?" Because the investigation's over by then. She's not going to go back to them and say, "Oh, yeah, by the way, actually,
By the way,
this got
yeah,
stolen as well back in, 10 years ago."
that's a very good point.
I don't think I could list every item in my house that I've got and notice
Hmm.
every single thing that was missing.
You would notice the big things, right? The
Exactly.
big ticket
Yeah.
items that you see every single day.
Yeah. You'd notice a stereo going, you'd notice the answer machine going, you'd notice that if they've been into a certain drawer that your wife's got a necklace in, you would go there and check, especially if it's a sentimental piece from a family member.
That's
Strange,
interesting.
isn't it? I wonder if it is somebody that they knew like that. That's harsh, killing
Because
someone you knew like that.
once again, we come back to the answer machine, right?
Yeah. What was on that
The
answer
answer
machine?
machine makes no sense.
No.
But you would think though, if someone did call and leave a message, that you could go back to the phone company and request
No, not
the
necessarily.
records,
Do they keep records of just incoming calls like that?
uh, or is it just outgoing calls?
Yeah. I mean, would they keep records of an incoming call? I know on your
I
mobile
don't
service
know.
they do, but on a landline, would they keep records of who called when? I'm not sure. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Interesting, isn't it? It's very, very interesting.
Well, you know what? I don't know what I think now.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But it's just
Mhm.
there's so many unanswered questions, and there's
Mm,
so many ways this can go.
mm. There's a lot of information you'd need to dig through to get an even sort of clear path in this
Uh
case,
huh.
I think. That's crazy.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's a really crazy case, that one.
I know the one theory I absolutely do not believe, and that's there's a theory that it was a kid from Brendan's school who Brendan had been bullied by and had tutored that day on some subject, and this bully ends up killing Brendan and his
No.
dad. No, no,
I
no,
can't
no.
see that a kid of Brendan's age is gonna be tying up a grown man and a boy his own age and shooting them in the back of
Uh-uh.
the head. I just can't see that
No.
happening.
That's the one I do not
Yeah.
I do not agree with
And
at all.
I don't
Absolutely not.
I also don't give much credit to the whole government spy kind of
No.
spyware. I don't give much credit to that. I would be
No, absolutely not.
more inclined to believe that this was a burglary gone wrong or something to do with people that they know and some kind of,
Mhm.
grudge or something like that.
Yeah. Like a disgruntled employee, ex-employee of Neil's
Maybe.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Customer
I don't
or
know.
whatever. Yeah, no, I do. Or the fact that it could have been mistaken identity and
That
it
was
was
interesting to
mm,
think about.
mhm.
Yeah. Like, did any of the neighbors at any point end up in any sort of legal trouble because
Yeah.
of drugs or whatever,
Or did they
right?
owe any money? Did they get, are they in trouble with anything? Are they, that would be interesting to have a look at the neighbors to see what kind of people you've got. Because I mean, if that
Yeah.
was my neighbour that was murdered, I'd have no problem with the police coming and looking through my business. I got nothing to hide. It wasn't
Mhm.
me. So there's nothing for them to pin on me, even remotely. So I'd be like, yeah, crack on. Go and have a look at my financial records. Have a look at who I hang out with. Go and maybe don't look at my search history on Google unless you listen to the
Mhm.
podcast. but yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what they need to do. Go and check out the neighborhood, the neighbors,
Yeah.
and see whether it could have been a mistaken identity and they got the wrong house.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I think that if this is one of those cases where I think if it happened now,
It would be
it
solved.
probably would have it been
Yeah,
solved.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, I think so too. I think more modern day policing, it would have been solved quicker, I think.
I think more modern day policing and then with modern day technology
Exactly. Yeah.
would completely just
Yeah.
lead police to who had done this.
Yeah. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? When you look back at the old cases and you think, wow, look at the mistakes they made. But at the time, it's,
Mhm.
yeah, interesting.
Yep. So that is this week's case.
Thank you very much. I didn't know about that one. That's a completely new one to me too. I hadn't heard of that one before.
Yeah. It's a sad one. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunate one, and it was one that makes no. There's no. You can't make sense of it.
No, there's no sort
It's
of clear,
senseless.
it could be this. There's no sort of, yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, thank you for
No,
that.
and I don't think. Yeah, and it's. I mean, like I said, these are two people who were murdered who don't. They should not have been murdered.
No,
There's
for what
nothing in there.
exactly? Yeah.
I mean, they both were very passive people.
Mm,
They kind of they had their likes and their interests, and that's what they kind of stuck to. And
yeah.
I don't see Neil going out and like
Causing
meeting up
havoc.
with causing havoc or running with the wrong crowd. It's not one of
No.
those situations.
Yeah. Interesting.
There you go.
Let us know what you think. Check us, yeah, give us a message on our Instagram. It's always always find it really interesting to hear other people's thoughts because sometimes you guys pick up stuff that we don't. So it's always interesting to hear what
Mhm.
you think as well.
Oh, I'm sure there's gonna be something that we missed or didn't
Mm.
think about that someone's sitting there listening and going, "Hey, what about
It's usually what happens when I
this
listen
thought?"
back to our episodes. I usually think, what about that? Why didn't I say that at the time? I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
It's really strange because I listen to it obviously as a different, and then I listen to it again and I think, what about this? That happens to me all the time.
Mhm. No, you're
So
right.
that was a sad case. How about we lighten the mood a bit? How about we get Captain in and I give you this week's dumb criminal?
Let's do it.
Hey, dum dum head, you's a real jackass.
This is a jackass situation. So, at a bus station in St. Paul in Minnesota, a hot
Mhm.
tempered man called Justin John Boudin was involved in an argument with a woman who punched her in the face. So, he's arguing with this woman at this bus station. He punches her in the face. And then this other person who was standing nearby, he also attacked the other person as well, which caused him to drop his folder that he was carrying on the ground. So, in the scuffle and everything that was going on, he left and didn't pick up the folder before he left. So when the police arrived at the scene a few minutes later, obviously they picked up the folder that this guy had dropped, which had all his paperwork and documents in it. But inside the folder was his anger management homework.
Oh no.
which is what the police use to track it back to his house. So he's come from an anger management class, got his homework for anger management, and then went and punched someone in the face on the way home.
Oh no.
Oh dear, the guy's got issues. So what a bit of a jackass. Not so much a dumb criminal, but a bit of a jackass in the heat of the moment, lost his anger management homework. He definitely has anger management issues.
I don't think he passed that class.
I don't think he did either. I think he's failed with a big F. So that was this week's
no.
Dumb Criminal. Thank you for joining us this week. We will be back next week with another episode, and it'll be my episode next time. So for now, be nice.
And bye.